Underage drinking has been an influential political issue in the United States since the 1840s. I bring to you a diverse collection of opinions commenting on one of the provocative issues that affects not only the youth of America, but also every layer of American life. Several countries enforced the prohibition law in the first half of the 20th century, including Finland, Norway, Iceland, Russia, and the United States from 1920 to 1933. Contrary to popular belief, the National Underage Drinking Act of 1984 does not call for states to enact laws for the minimum consumption age of alcohol, but only against the possession and purchase of alcoholic beverages. There are 20 states with no legal consumption age, including Florida, 23 with partial age consumption of alcohol, and 7 states that prohibit the consumption of alcohol under the age of 21 completely.
I think 21 is a reasonable age for young adults to start drinking. Well, I think the added 3 years gives an individual 3 more years of maturity on learning the responsibility of drinking and how to drink responsibly. It also gives them an added level of maturity to understand the consequences of their actions.
Well, I think that the young people today can drink at the age of 18. I think our kids are a little bit more sophisticated than they used to be. And I think they're learning about alcohol and drugs in the school system and from their parents and from what goes on in the media. And I think that most of them are mature and sophisticated enough to be able to drink at the age of 18.
18 would definitely be way too young. But anything old, I mean, it just, because I grew up with the age, I mean, it just seems completely reasonable to me.
No, I think it should be younger because we're taking on lots of responsibilities when we're 16 years old, like driving, and I think we can handle them more. Especially if people in Europe can do it at 16, I think we should be able to try too.
There are countless locations which have passed a law stating that those under the age of 21 must be out of bars by 11 o'clock, and Sarasota, Florida is in the process of attempting to add themselves to that list.
Most of the reputable and good clubs, bars and clubs, really don't want to have to deal with underage drinking. That puts them at risk, and it causes them to have to do a lot more work, and most of them don't think that it's a good idea.
I think that personally, I think that's the most ridiculous ordinance they could ever come up with. When I went there and I talked to the commissioners, I tried to explain to them they're targeting a very selected group of people that is not the problem. We're not the cause of the problem.
We have more problems with convenience stores and with gas stations selling alcohol than we do really at the bars, because most of the time, most of the bars in the county pretty much won't let you in.
As far as having to force individuals that are the age of majority 18 to leave any establishment, it seems unconstitutional in my mind.
Well, it might be safer because, I mean, they might be at their friend's house drinking in some place they can sleep. My main concern with underage drinking or barely legal drinking, like when someone turns 21, is some people don't have their own cars or don't have the income or the support system to have a way home or to make reasonable decisions. They don't have friends like an adult has, and like that's always concerning when people think they can drive or don't have a car and are sleeping outside of bars. So maybe, yeah, keeping them out of bars might help.
And all alcohol advertising on television, including beer. There's no question but that one of the major reasons beer is such a popular drink among kids is that it is glamorized with glamorous people, glamorous ex-sports figures, or on events that kids watch, millions of kids watch.
Well, I think law enforcement has reduced underage drinking somewhat. I think you hear less and less stories about teenage drinking and underage drinking problems. So I think they have had some success.
I don't think law enforcement has been able to do a very good job. I think there are too many places they need to police, and that the young people are smarter than a lot of people give them credit for. If they want to drink, they're going to figure out where to do it and how to do it so that most of the time they don't get caught.
Shouldn't lie in the hands of law enforcement necessarily, because I don't think it's the sole responsibility of law enforcement to ensure that underage children drink. I think it should go back to the family.
I don't think it stops with anyone. I think it's a parent's responsibility not to have alcohol easily accessible, certainly not to give alcohol to anyone. And every convenience store and bar and restaurant, I think everyone has that responsibility.
Underage drinkers accounted for $27 billion of the $108 billion spent on alcohol, including as much as $15 billion on beer. Without underage drinkers, the alcohol industry and the beer industry in particular would suffer severe economic declines and dramatic loss of profits.
You look at all civilized nations, and where we're at 21, most of the other countries are at 18, some are at 16, some at 15, some at 13. And the only other countries really that fall in line with the United States and a 21-year-old drinking age are Muslim countries. So you look at the religious influences in this country being very conservative, and you look at those Muslim countries, and we kind of correlated to them.
I grew up in Japan, and they have alcohol and vending machines over there, and they approach alcohol in a whole different light. You know, children are seen at special occasions drinking sake, and it's kind of like a social thing, and it's not looked at in a negative light.
They probably obtain it through older teens, older siblings, such as a brother that's of the age of drinking, and probably through their parents' liquor cabinets, because a lot of parents have those.
Fake IDs. Fake IDs. I had one. I know my sons have had fake IDs. And I know that the clerks at the convenience stores only look at an ID enough to say that it's okay. They're not interested in getting anyone in trouble. They're interested in selling their product. So any halfway decent ID is acceptable.
Is it easy for kids to get alcohol? It's as easy as buying a candy bar in this country. I mean, 3/4 of the 8th graders can get alcohol easily, 10th graders, and just about all the 12th graders.
I think when you're young, and I define young, anyone even under 25, you want to be older, you want to be mature, responsible, you just want to be older. And unfortunately, people think that the ability to drink makes you older. So everybody wants to drink, even when they're not supposed to. And there's the fun of doing something illegal and something you're not supposed to. Everyone always enjoys that, especially when you're young.
First of all, I do think that there's peer pressure, and it depends who your friends are and whether they're drinking. But I also think that there is a lot of youth that respect laws, will do what the law asks them to do, and that they have better plans for their future, and that underage drinking is not going to do anything for the future they envision for themselves.
Necessary for them to go through to figure themselves out. Like, I don't condone, I mean, like, if my friends, I'm not like, hey, you should go drink, but like, I think that the situation being present in the school systems is just something that you got to go through as a learning experience.
This is a significant issue that affects adults, underage youth, and children. Everyone is affected by underage drinking. What is needed is an opportunity for communication and understanding of the matter, so meaningful methods can be developed so that the issues surrounding underage drinking can be addressed.